I'll write the story in a reusable draft format for your YouTube video. The judge's final signature changed Ethan Carter's life in less than 30 seconds. The house he had spent 12 years paying for was gone. The family SUV was gone. Worst of all, his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, was moving across the country with her mother. Ethan stood alone in an empty courtroom holding a small envelope that contained exactly $200. Everything else had disappeared. As he watched his ex-wife leave with the keys to the house, the car, and the future he once dreamed of, he felt as if the world had erased him. But neither of them knew that the man walking out of that courtroom with only $200 would one day appear on the cover of Forbes magazine. Before we continue, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and never giving up when life knocks you down, please take a moment to like this video. Comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs inspiration, and subscribe to Secret CEO Stories for more unforgettable journeys. The months that followed were brutal. Ethan slept on an old mattress in a rented storage unit that smelled of dust and oil. During the day, he worked temporary jobs wherever he could find them. Some days he unloaded trucks. Other days he cleaned construction sites. He skipped meals regularly to save money. Every night he stared at the photo of Lily taped to the wall beside his mattress. Her smile became the only thing keeping him alive during the darkest moments. The hardest part wasn't losing money. It wasn't losing the house. It was losing time with his daughter. Every time Lily called, Ethan forced himself to sound cheerful. He listened to stories about school, friends, and birthday parties he couldn't attend. After hanging up, he often sat in silence for hours. The loneliness felt unbearable. One rainy evening, while walking home after a 14-hour shift, Ethan noticed an abandoned garage on the edge of town. The building was falling apart. The roof leaked. Rust covered nearly every surface. Most people saw a worthless structure. Ethan saw something different. He saw possibility. Years earlier, before life became complicated, Ethan had loved working on cars. He understood engines the way musicians understood instruments. He knew how to bring dead machines back to life. Standing in front of that broken garage, an idea began forming in his mind. The owner of the property was an elderly man who hadn't used the building in years. After several conversations, Ethan convinced him to rent the space for almost nothing in exchange for cleaning and repairing the property. The problem was that Ethan only had $200 left. It wasn't enough to start a business. It barely covered basic tools. Still, he refused to quit. With his last savings, Ethan bought a second-hand toolbox, a few wrenches, and a faded sign. He spent weeks cleaning the garage by himself. He patched holes in the roof using scrap materials. He repaired broken shelves. He painted walls late into the night. Sometimes he worked until sunrise. His hands bled. His back hurt constantly. But little by little, the garage began to look alive. The first customer arrived by accident. A local delivery driver had a van that wouldn't start. Every repair shop in town was booked for days. Ethan offered to take a look. Within 3 hours, the vehicle was running again. The driver couldn't believe it. He told friends. Those friends told other friends. Soon, more customers started arriving. Ethan wasn't the cheapest mechanic in town. He wasn't the fastest either, but he treated every customer with honesty. If a repair wasn't necessary, he said so. If a cheaper solution existed, he recommended it. People trusted him because he cared. Word spread rapidly. Within a year, the tiny garage had become one of the busiest repair shops in the region. Ethan hired his first employee, then a second, then a third. Every dollar he earned went back into the business. While others spent money on luxuries, Ethan invested in equipment, training, and better service. But success didn't erase the pain. Every evening after work, he checked photos of Lily. She was growing up faster than he could accept. He missed school events, soccer games, and birthdays. Although his business was improving, the distance between father and daughter still hurt deeply. One Christmas, Ethan drove nearly 10 hours just to spend a single afternoon with Lily. He arrived carrying a small gift he could barely afford. During those few precious hours, he realized something important. Money wasn't what he truly wanted. He wanted to build a future that would make his daughter proud. That realization changed everything. Ethan stopped thinking like a mechanic and started thinking like an entrepreneur. He noticed that many small repair shops struggled with inventory management, scheduling, and customer communication. Using lessons learned from his own experience, he developed a simple software system to help garages operate more efficiently. At first, nobody paid attention. Then a few shop owners tried it. They loved it. Soon, dozens of garages were using the system. Then hundreds. Investors began reaching out. Industry leaders started noticing his company. What began inside a rundown garage with $200 slowly evolved into a technology business, transforming automotive service operations across the country. The growth was explosive. By the time Ethan turned 45, his company employed hundreds of people. The old garage still stood at the center of headquarters as a reminder of where everything started. Employees often walked past it without realizing its significance. To Ethan, it was sacred. One afternoon, while reviewing company reports, he received a message from Lily. She was now a young woman preparing for college. The message was simple but powerful. She wrote that she had been reading articles about his company and was proud to call him her father. Ethan stared at the screen with tears in his eyes. For years, he had chased success, hoping it would eventually repair the broken parts of his life. In that moment, he understood that hearing those words from his daughter meant more than any business achievement. A few months later, something unexpected happened. A major business magazine requested an interview. Journalists visited headquarters. They toured the original garage. They listened to Ethan's story. They asked about failure, sacrifice, and resilience. Ethan answered honestly. He spoke about sleeping in a storage unit. He spoke about losing everything. He spoke about the importance of integrity. Then came the phone call. Forbes had selected him for its upcoming cover story, featuring self-made entrepreneurs who transformed industries through innovation and perseverance. When the magazine was published, the image spread everywhere. Business networks discussed his success. Social media celebrated his journey. Entrepreneurs quoted his story as motivation. Millions of people saw the cover, including his ex-wife. One morning, she walked past a bookstore display and froze. There, staring back from the front page, was the man she once believed had nothing left. The same man who had walked away with only $200. The same man who had slept in a storage unit. The same man she thought would never recover. Now his face appeared on one of the world's most respected business magazines. For a long moment, she simply stood there staring. The article wasn't about wealth. It wasn't about luxury cars or private jets. It was about resilience. It described how Ethan treated employees like family. It highlighted scholarship programs he funded for struggling students. It explained how he donated millions to vocational training programs, helping disadvantaged workers build careers. Most importantly, it told the story of a father who never stopped loving his daughter despite losing nearly everything. As the years passed, Ethan's success continued growing. But unlike many wealthy people, he never forgot those difficult days. He expanded educational opportunities for young mechanics. He created mentorship programs. He invested in communities often overlooked by others. The greatest reward came when Lily graduated from college. As she walked across the stage, Ethan sat in the audience with tears streaming down his face. In that moment, he didn't see a successful company. He didn't see magazine covers or financial achievements. He saw the little girl whose photograph had once hung beside a mattress in a storage unit. He saw the reason he never gave up. Before we reach the end, if this story has touched your heart, please leave a comment with the words, "Never give up." Your comment helps share this message of hope with more people around the world. Years later, reporters often asked Ethan what it felt like to lose everything and build it all back again. His answer was always the same. He said that losing the house taught him that walls don't create a home. Losing the car taught him that possessions don't define a person. Losing money taught him that wealth can disappear overnight. But love, character, and determination are assets nobody can take away. The man who once stood alone with $200 eventually built an empire. Yet the true victory wasn't appearing on a Forbes cover. The true victory was proving that even after life's most devastating losses, a person can choose hope instead of bitterness, courage instead of surrender, and purpose instead of despair. If this story inspired you, moved you, or reminded you never to quit on your dreams, please like the video, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe to Secret CEO Stories. Sometimes the greatest success stories begin at the exact moment everything seems lost. And that is why Ethan Carter's journey was never really about money. It was about rising after the fall, believing when nobody else did, and showing the world that a broken ending can become the beginning of something extraordinary.